Revenge films.
Maybe it's not as bad as others, but I've had one of the biggest blowouts myself. My name is Noah Williams. I'm 32 years old and an office worker. One summer, a year ago, I came home to find my wife, Emma, and the kids gone, and only a note left for me saying, "I wish you all the best with her." I had no idea what it meant, and I was like, "What? What's she talking about?" I was so upset that I called my wife, but her phone wasn't turned on. And when I called my in-laws and siblings-in-law, they said she wasn't there. I knew some of my wife's friends, but I didn't know how to contact them. I searched the neighborhood, and when I got home, I found my sister-in-law and her husband, concerned, at my house. My sister-in-law found my wife's friend's address from a New Year's card, and she allowed me to go to her house at midnight. My wife's friend, who understood what was going on, emailed other friends, and they all helped me locate my wife.
It's almost midnight, so let's just go home and let them call us when they know where she is, okay?
My sister-in-law urged me to go home, but I couldn't sleep well. Why would my wife think that? We were getting along normally until this morning. Why? I kept thinking about the reasons that came to mind. And then I received a call from a friend of my wife in the morning, saying she got a call from Emma. I called right after her, and my wife answered. "You've got it all wrong. I never did anything to betray you or our children. Anyway, I want you to come home." When I said that, she just blurted out that I was a liar and hung up on me. I took that day off from work and was looking around for her again when I got a text from my wife. "I'll listen to your excuses one last time, so I'll be waiting for you at the restaurant near our house at 7 p.m. Now I can finally talk about this. I can clear my name." I felt a little calmer with that thought, but when I got to the meeting place, I found my wife with a blank expression on her face, the kids calling me, and one other person, my brother's ex-wife.
It's been a while, Noah. I can't believe you came here.
Huh? What are you doing here? I was wondering why she was here, and then my brother's ex-wife strode over and stood in front of me and vigorously struck me in the face. Ow! I held my cheeks and looked at my brother's ex-wife, and she turned her hateful eyes on me as she walked out of the restaurant with the kids. A huge noise echoed through the restaurant, and I ended up talking to my wife in a different location because of the people looking at us. What did you mean by that letter?
It's exactly what it means. You're having an affair, aren't you?
My wife still thinks I'm cheating on her? I didn't have an affair. What made you think that? When I asked her that, she asked me back.
Do you remember what you were doing that day in February this year?
February? That's 6 months ago. I couldn't remember anything when she suddenly asked me what happened 6 months ago, and I grunted and thought about it, but I still couldn't come up with anything. "I'm sorry, I don't know." When I replied, she said,
I was out with my kids that day, and they were saying that was you, and I looked to the side and saw you hugging a woman I didn't know. If that's not cheating, what is? You met her on the days you said you were going out with friends, right? You lied to me the whole time and you didn't think anything of it, did you?
She said a lot of other things, crying. Huh? I was hugging? Oh. And that's when I finally remembered what happened on that certain day in February. In fact, it was my day off, and I was at home slumbering with my children when I got a text from a woman who was a temporary worker at the same company.
Mr. Williams, do you have a few minutes to talk?
Sorry, I'm spending time with my family right now. So if it's okay with you, we can talk about it at work on Monday?
I can't really talk about it at the office. I don't want anyone to hear.
She said it in a kind of distressed manner, so I decided to go to the place she suggested, just for a little while. I, of course, asked my wife if I could go out. After that, we went to a cafe for about an hour of relationship advice. And when I said I had to leave soon, she told me to stay a little longer. We went to the park next door, and even though it wasn't Valentine's Day, she gave me chocolate, told me she loved me, and she hugged me.
I've always loved you. Please go out with me.
It seems I was unlucky enough to be seen by my wife when it happened. She cried, so I just stood there for a while. But I didn't hold her. After that, thanks for the sentiment, but my wife and kids are my life's purpose, and I'm not interested in anyone else. I'm sorry. I said that and left. Incidentally, I found out that the chocolate she gave me wasn't obligatory, so I told her right then and there that I couldn't accept it and gave it back. Apparently, my wife suffered alone for a long time that day. My brother's ex-wife told her my brother and his wife divorced because of adultery, so she thought I was the same after all. However, since I was a good father at home and the marriage wasn't bad, she was willing to pretend she didn't see anything and just bear with it. But it got harder and harder, and in July, she talked to my brother's ex-wife, who had had the same experience.
That's how men are. The men in the Williams family have infidelity in their blood. They're womanizers, and if you stay with them, you'll just be miserable. It's better for you and your children to get divorced quickly.
Apparently, his wife was told so by my brother's ex-wife. After that, she ran away from home for the time being, and that was the whole story. For the record, the fact that my brother and his ex-wife divorced because of adultery was a misunderstanding, or rather, an assumption on the part of the ex-wife. My brother's ex-wife's parents divorced because of adultery, and my brother's ex-wife, who had a terrible aversion to cheating and adultery, immediately became possessive of my brother after they got married. Every day when he arrived at work, he was forced to inform her that he just arrived at the company. And before leaving, he had to tell her that he was on his way home. On days when he worked overtime, he had to send a picture every 30 minutes to prove he was in the office. On weekends, he was banned from making contact with anyone outside of his family and relatives. Going out to drink was allowed as part of entertainment and socializing, but one day she discovered that there was a woman at a drinking party among his colleagues in the company.
Cheater! You trash! These 2 years of marriage were a waste! Does that woman have a death wish? Give me the password to your cell phone and show it to me now! Hey! Answer me!
He was abused, punched, and had his hair pulled for 5 hours. My brother has been through all of this, and he and his ex-wife divorced by mutual consent. My brother's ex-wife went around claiming that it was only because of my brother's infidelity, but there was not a shred of evidence of infidelity. And furthermore, my brother immediately went to get a medical certificate after the beating, so he was able to separate from his ex-wife because of her violence.
He deserved to be hit for cheating on me!
Still, my brother's ex-wife persisted, and even a year after the divorce, she still resented my brother and my family, calling us a nasty family. I told my wife about this.
I can't believe she was like that.
My wife was skeptical at first, but eventually she understood. I didn't tell my wife the details of the cause of my brother's divorce, because it was a private matter. My wife was good friends with my brother's ex-wife, so she believed what she heard from her, which was the reason things got worse this time, and I felt responsible for it. After this, my brother's ex-wife was contacted by my brother. If you spread any more rumors about me and get anyone else involved, I'll make you regret it. I still have the medical report over here, so be thankful I'm not filing a damage report to the cops. My brother gave her a stern warning and she became quiet. Also, the temp woman who came to me for advice, 6 months after she told me her feelings for me, she told another married male employee and had a relationship with him, which was discovered by others, and they got into a lot of trouble. The male employee got a divorce, alimony, and a transfer to a lower position. The temp woman was also ordered to pay alimony, but since she was a contract employee, she was easily fired and ran away without paying alimony. And I don't know what her intentions were, but I heard that the temp woman was hitting on other married male employees. Women like that who make their living stirring up people's families are really common, aren't they? The whole company was buzzing about that woman for a while. After that, I felt bad for my wife, who was distressed because of my stupidity in giving advice to that temp woman. I'm sorry. I was an idiot. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for giving me another chance. I apologized and thanked my wife for believing in me.
Not at all. I should have asked you directly before worrying alone or asking others for advice. I knew you cared about our family, and I'm sorry I doubted you about it.
Since then, we've been getting along well as a couple and as a family.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.